Hello, my name is Pam Kostecki, and I'm the Executive Director of the Crisis Center for South Suburbia. Our Garden Walkway outside of the Crisis Center's emergency shelter is a beautiful, serene, and meaningful place. It represents strength, dedication, commitment, faith, and above all, hope. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and there is no better time to remember those who have supported the Crisis Center and advocated for survivors. Today, at our brick dedication ceremony, we remember friends who are no longer with us, and we honor those who help us carry the torch for those living in the fear and isolation of domestic violence. Today, we honor and remember the following 11 individuals and groups.
Stephen was a life taken too soon. He was the brother of our dear friend Susan Frangella and the son of one of our most generous and faithful donors, Sandra Beal. The Beal and Frangella families have some of the most kind and generous hearts we have ever known. We hope this dedication brings them and their families a little bit of peace.
Ron was the devoted and loving husband of Neat Repeats volunteer, team leader, and Crisis Center auxiliary member Phyllis Cheek. He was a retired teacher and was the first one to help Phyllis with auxiliary fundraising tasks like counting raffle tickets and addressing envelopes for auxiliary mailings. He was always so proud of her work with the auxiliary. He will be missed, but we know he is golfing a great game in heaven.
Gussie Corradino and her late husband, Leroy, were very devoted to the Crisis Center. They were instrumental leaders in the capital campaign to build the current shelter building, and after Leroy passed away, Gussie continued to support our efforts.
Joanne was a beloved member of the community and dear friend of our board president, Katie Abbott. She was a retired nurse who dedicated her life to the service of others, and her legacy lives on in all those she inspired through her example of service and compassion.
Raymond is someone we all wish we could have met. He named the Crisis Center in his will, and after his passing, his generous bequest helped us bridge the financial challenges that we faced during the worst months of the pandemic. He is an angel to us, and we're pretty sure he is watching us from above.
Egon was the face of philanthropy, especially in the south suburbs of Chicago. He and his wife Dorothy have been cherished donors for over 20 years. Their leadership gift to the capital campaign to build the shelter in the 1980s was a shining example of his philanthropy and dedication to those in need. Egon's daughter-in-law, Cynthia, helped carry on his passion by serving on the Crisis Center Board of Directors.
Anne was the mother of longtime board member Therese Dubelby. Anne was a faithful donor and supporter of the Crisis Center for more than 15 years. She instilled the value of helping others and sharing blessings with all of her children, who are all active supporters of the Crisis Center today.
John was the loving and devoted husband of Lynette Staudinger. John was a volunteer at Neat Repeats, along with Lynette, for many years. John also had a generous heart, and both he and Lynette were and are proud members of our Diane Masters Society. Since 1991, when they made their first of many generous gifts, John has had a special place in our hearts.
Tom and his lovely wife Nancy own Payless Golf and have been longtime supporters of the Diane Masters Cup. Each year, Tom reached out to their vendors and client base, along with Nancy, asking them to provide exceptional prizes and encouraging them to support the event. Tom and his unique sense of humor are very missed.
Anyone who knew Irene knew that she was a force to be reckoned with. She was a school teacher for most of her life and a person actively engaged in supporting her community. For 17 years, Irene volunteered at our Neat Repeats store in Worth. She served on our auxiliary and was an active force behind their very successful Tag Days campaign. No one could say no to Irene when she asked for donations. I mean, no one. Today, in addition to the brick, we also dedicate this angel statue, purchased by her friends on the auxiliary who miss her every day. Irene's generous heart lives on in them, and her daughter Stacy, who is now an active crisis center supporter.
This wonderful group is the reason the Crisis Center exists today. In the late 1970s, several members, including Diane Masters, who was murdered in a plot devised by her abusive husband, met and arranged a study to determine if domestic violence was an issue in South Suburban Chicago. Because of this study, these women, led by Diane, created a crisis hotline, and from there it grew into the Crisis Center as we know it today. This amazing group of women, many of whom volunteer at our NEAT repeats and serve on our auxiliary, is celebrating its 50th anniversary. So in their honor, we dedicate a brick to them, recognizing the efforts of long ago and the continued support we receive today.
Every day, when we look at this amazing garden and walkway, we are reminded of how blessed we are to have known these amazing people. They have left a legacy and made an everlasting impact on the Crisis Center. We are forever grateful to them and for you. Thank you for joining us.